Call Haloyim Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar here again with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, whom rule well and from whom we learn His truth. Shalom to Yakim, who are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth throughout the earth. To you few sisters, as well as you speckled birds who are scattered among the nations, looking like those nations. To the 144,000 elect men and the rest of the hopeful elect. To you I say, Shalom. This lesson is inspired by, I'm going to say, current events. Although this event is not so current. It's maybe a couple weeks old now at this point. And I don't recall if I know we've talked about it. The brothers have talked about it at camp, but I don't know if I don't recall me personally making a video on it. So, I have a clip to play, right? Lord willing, I'll try to keep this concise and short. But to the point, so I don't ramble, is, I came across some reaction videos, some things online that were titled Salakia. All right, black people or black Americans or whatever, so-called black, reacting to this Trump's martial law thing, right? Now, there's this Edomite lady whose clip I'm getting ready to play, who gives a little bit more meat on the actual executive order itself, right? Because people are throwing around the term martial law, and though you can skate on a technicality and say that, Orange Man did not pass martial law, he absolutely set the framework to make it easier to implement martial law in the times to come. Right now, what's the overarching point of this executive order? Right, that 47, all right, your boy DJ, that he signed. Huh? Well, we knew out the gate when he first got in office that this guy, he was on it. Right, this motherfucker wasn't holding back. He was speedy with executing whatever his agenda and plans that he had, set up. It's almost like he had a list, like bullet points, and he was just hitting them one after another. Anyhow, the overarching point of this bill is that was signed via executive order is more control. Okay? It's more control. That's the overarching point of this bill. Now, let me see if I can pull up this this clip real right fast. Hold on. Because I want to say fair use, fair use. All right, fair use. I'm giving a reaction and commentary on this clip. I'm not getting any monetization, any money from this clip. Fair use.
I think one of the executive orders that Trump signed today might be his most sinister one yet, and that's really saying something. I'm Eliza Orleans.
Before I let her finish up, the point I was making is this executive order, this bill is about overall control, right? Control for the populace at large, but more specifically, just like with a lot of laws that have been placed on the books in the past, right? You know, certain laws or parts of a bill are specifically targeted for a particular demographic, and we know that this the way this bill is written, the demographic that it is targeting is the so-called black and brown people, right? So you so-called African Americans, you so-called Negroes, and you Latinos, you so-called Latinos as well, and Native Indians. It's really for us, the children of Israel. All right. And there are parts in here, pay attention, there are parts in here where you'll be like, well, damn, you know, I'm gonna just let it play.
You're a public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and I have to break this down for you. So that Trump signed today might be his most sinister one yet, and that's really saying something. I'm Eliza Orleans, career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and I have to break this down for you. So today's executive order is called Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and Protect Innocent Citizens. Trump is acting like safe communities are the impetus behind this and empowering law enforcement to firmly police dangerous criminal behavior. But that's not at all the reality of what this executive order does. In this executive order, he's not just unleashing the police, which he is doing, but he's dismantling reforms, criminalizing equity, and militarizing local law enforcement all at once. First,
so she said a mouthful right there. I hope y'all can keep up. All right. She said decriminalization, all right, of force, right? Militarization of the police of the police force, okay. And she said some other shit. Let's back it up just a little bit.
Executive order does. In this executive order, he's not just unleashing the police, which he is doing, but he's dismantling reforms, criminalizing equity, and militarizing local law enforcement all at once. First, Trump.
Yeah, she said criminalizing equity, right? So before she get to it, basically what that means is any that goes back into the first statement she said with the reforms. So any law or bill or anything like that that's been put on the books, okay, to kind of level the playing field, has been removed. And that goes with the attack on the DEI shit, right? That we all heard so much about. Okay? But not just only in jobs, it's trickling over into how people will be treated by local governments. Okay? And the enforcers of those local government laws, okay, i.e. law enforcement, okay, which doesn't just stop there at the people with the badge. That goes for those people that wear those cloaks too, all right, that got that gavel, that hammer, the little wooden mallet, they call them judges, right? So anyway,
this order frames progressive reforms as the real problem. Things like anti-bias training and limits on use of force, as opposed to police misconduct and brutality. He says cities need to unleash aggressive policing and stop harmful and illegal equity policies. He wants to replace any efforts that make policing fairer or more accountable and replace them with unchecked force. In Section 2, this order creates a legal defense fund for officers who...
She says something that should be a buzzword, right? Unchecked force. You see that? So decriminalization of unchecked force. Basically what that's going into. All right. In other words, what some people would call, 5-0-12 brutality. Right? Y'all know what 5-0 and 12 mean. Talking about them woo woo, Mrs. Officer, that Lil Wayne song, right? Ain't nobody gonna be making no more songs like that. All right.
Might get sued based on their official actions. Meaning, if a cop kills someone, don't worry, the federal government will defend them, no questions asked. Section 3 basically guts consent decrees. And those are the agreements that the DOJ uses to fix unconstitutional policing. So if a police department was found guilty
Department
of
of Justice,
unconstitutional abuse, this order says set them free. Section 4 of this order says that they should increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions. What does that mean? It means your neighborhood may become a war zone. They're going to militarize the Section 5.
See, that was an interesting point that we really wanted to
Section 5 is
pay attention to. Was
increase
this one right here? This Section 4, right? Using national security assets for law and order. You see that? Law and order. And see, the vernacular, the terminology used in this bill is very broad, sweeping, and ambiguous, right? Because the law could be, current law, a law that's fucking 150 years old. Who knows what they will decide to enforce? But that word order, right? That, like, if you ever got a citation for disorderly conduct or heard some, that could be anything from revving your motorcycle too loud, or having your music up too loud at a gathering or a party, or you exceed the amount of people you're supposed to have in a building. I mean, that goes in the fire code. But anyway, that's very broad sweeping. All right. And the reason I'm bringing this out is for so that maybe the brothers that don't know about this kind of stuff, we may not feel the direct effects of this bill immediately, right? But again, as I stated in the opening, this is set in place as a stepping stone, all right, to target specific communities. And I will go as far as to say particular subgroups within a certain demographic. All right. So certain individuals within a community, i.e., people that stand on the street corner preaching like Israelites. All right. Or you overzealous Christians. Who knows? Right. But anyway, these things Lil Will and Akim will be circumspect about. A brother dropped a video in the chat not that long ago. It was like a day or two ago, about a brother who had a testimony, right? Brother in the Truth had a testimony, and he was attacked by an aggressor with a blade. Okay, and he mentioned in there that may have been an agent. Okay, so again, becoming familiar with some of these bills and laws, Lord willing, this video, finds its way to you, Akim, that this may pertain to. Okay, and the thing about it is this is a federal bill, so it's not so much state controlled. All right.
Provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions. What does that mean? It means your neighborhood may become a war zone. They're going to militarize the Section 5 is the most dangerous of them all. It says that the Department of Justice should prioritize prosecution of any state or local officials who willfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, prohibiting law enforcement from carrying out their necessary duties.
Right. So that means nobody's above the law. That's like writing a check for carte blanche to law enforcement, right? Yeah, let's look at this. It says prioritize prosecution of any applicable violation of federal criminal law, and this bill is federal, with respect to state and local jurisdictions whose officials, all right, you see that? So any state or local official, that could be the governor of the state, a city mayor, okay, a senator, okay, judge, any of those things. Bullet point A, willfully and unlawfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, which is going to be at the federal level, right, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement. And see, there's another ambiguous term, that public safety, that ties into that law and order. Okay, or unlawfully engaging in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion. You see that? So if you trying to do something with the intent for equitable, what they would deem equitable diversity inclusion, then that may put you at risk of jail time, regardless of your station in the community. If you are a regular citizen or a local or state government official
who engage in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion. This literally means they could prosecute local elected officials, governors, mayors, city council members, whoever they felt was not doing the thing that Trump wanted them to do. This is so dangerous. This is not public safety. This is not rule of law. This is political revenge. This is authoritarianism. This is terrifying. And then finally, Section 6, that Homeland Security Task Force protecting American people against invasion, to coordinate and advance the objectives of this order. And this will help the Trump administration crack down on communities within this country who Trump doesn't like. This is not about public safety. This is about...
We're going to see if some of that same verbiage is applied to a lot of these good old boy militias and shit that's out here, like the Proud Boys and so on and so forth. All right. So you jakes out there that's hyper militant and shit, like ISUPK, trying to be doing all, got your combat boots and holding public training camps and shit like that, getting on camera and video. You on wax, telling people that you preparing for whatever, right? You can't even use the narrative of self-defense because some of the verbiage you was using. Oh man, I'm gonna leave that
control. This is about militarization and expansion of policing. This is about
right. Okay, and about silencing, as she was just getting ready to say. Now, if that happens, and they keep calling it martial law or whatever, but again, that hasn't been implemented yet. But this is definitely the framework to implement martial law. Couple scripts came to mind when I heard about this, or was revisited by this topic. Because with martial law and the public safety and the law and order, that make you think of what? Curfews, right? So this is 2nd Ezra, and that's a real simple thing to enforce. Just like during the time of, the C-19 in 2020. They had certain places had curfews, right? I don't know if y'all remember that. It wasn't that long ago. Okay? And we're going to get straight to the point. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Now, this verse in particular is going in about the lack of law, all right, and the looting and what's the word I'm looking for? The civil unrest. All right, that's going to happen. But what's going to be a response to that? Martial law. Borders, barricades set up. Right? Curfews. Militarized police force, tanks, helicopters. They putting up more cameras everywhere. They doing speed checks with helicopters now down here in Florida. So you got to be circumspect, man, when you moving about. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. This may happen, based on the verbiage in this bill. If martial law is implemented at some point, then that they'll cordon off certain cities and areas. Okay. Let's get another one. That this hold on. Let me get. This is Revelation. (12 and 12). It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. All right. And this guy know, man. And we know who the devil is. These pink bitches out here. All right. These red motherfuckers. The Hebrew Edomites. So-called white people. Okay. That the scriptures. They're called the wicked. All right. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Job 9:24. We're going to keep bringing that out along with various other verses. All right, because you know you got the likes of Ron Dalton and all these degenerates popping back up with this same tired ass argument. Esau's not the white man, he's Japheth. Whatever. That shit been covered 50 times, 30 times, whatever. Right? It's old, and that's been addressed numerous times, but we'll keep doing it. Not so much in this video, but we know by the actions of these people, okay, and especially the straits, right, the hard times that your boy 47 DJ is bringing onto the country, man. Okay? Because the nations are mad. The nations are mad. Economically, there's an issue here, right? And not just with China anymore. Japan starting to distance themselves, and they are leveraging less and less debt against America, just like China is leveraging less and less debt against America, right? Meaning what? Meaning they're not allowing, in lay terms, that means they're not allowing America to borrow as much. You can't take as much on consignment, right? Like back in the day, you had a pack or whatever. Never mind. Take you gotta have the money up front, right? And these countries, listen, they want you to pay down some of that existing debt. They're not finna keep doing deals with y'all and just let you stack debt on top of debt. Okay? So we can see that with the automotive industry too. Anyway, I said all that to say, when you look at the political landscape, right, and how your boy had to backpedal with the tariffs, and you still got inflation going and all of that, and he's embarrassed himself in the news, man, concerning the state of America's economic situation. They're still talking about it. Anyway, he knows that he has a short time. And not just Donnie J. I'm talking about the powers that be, that are of that same family line, of that same lineage. Okay? This reminds me of that video that one of the brothers posted a while back, some months ago, where it might have been Elder Yasha Wamba, where he's talking about the Lord let these devils see their fate, and no matter what they did, it got to a point. No matter what they did, the outcome was the same. Meaning their fate is sealed, right? It didn't matter if they tried to, go back and change something or do right by, for one, like, their iniquities is almost reaching that threshold, man. I was talking to my pops the other day, and just on like a worldly level, we's kind of talking about this shit, how the people are emboldened again, right? The Edomites talking real proud and shit, and he like, well, the pendulum, and it's the wisdom of my father, it's a worldly wisdom, but it's it's applicable in this sense. talking about how the pendulum swung so far left under Biden and the last regime on a world level with the whole weirdo shit. It had to swing just as far coming back the other way. So now, and that makes sense, you know. But according to the scriptures is what we go by. Okay. Because I'm getting off topic. But let me get one more. I was going to get Amos going, speaking on this law or whatever. This bill that got passed. Amos 8 and 11 says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Heavenly Father Yahweh," right? Hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. "And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh, and shall not find it." All right. And those times are coming, man. And what's going to happen? First, if this devil in office really tap into that bill and start militarizing the police force heavily, right, and making it to where they put more curfews, they're not allowing public gatherings and all this kind of stuff, right? Because if you think about it, what's our message as Israelites? We put out here to herald in the coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, right? But we also telling the white man, so-called white man, we telling the Edomites, it's not even white, we telling the Edomites their fate. Yo, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, y'all the people of the book. All right, you are the children of the Heavenly Father. Okay, come back into your heritage. Right? And what does that do? It provides a structure for the community, for our community, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, a set of law, statutes, and commandments to come back to, of faith, right? But what is it saying? The part of that message is what? Esau, Edom, you got to pay for your crimes. It's going to be your turn to go into slavery very soon. Right? So, that's equitable. That's fair. Right? And the fact that more people are going to start coming out saying, yo, it's not a black thing. I mean, GMS been saying it. No, not just GMS. A lot of camps been saying it. Most of the mainstream camps say it. It's not just a black thing. It's you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, it's to the point now where you black only Israelites are bug outs. You know, but they try to control the narrative and, you know, make it like, oh, it's just a black white thing. So you so-called blacks, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, there is the inclusion and equity again. So I have no doubt that at some point, and we are already targets, men that's pushing this word. But there may be a point where this devil's like, okay, it's no longer lawful for y'all to have these public assemblies. Yeah, you got constitutional rights, but under the Constitution go out the window under martial law. And then that's when that law and order and public safety is going to be prioritized, as the bill says. And at that time, hey, this verse we just read here, all right, people going to be seeking answers. Just like they were seeking answers during C-19, man, during 2020. Anyhow, stay circumspect. Food for thought. I pray this lesson finds you well. I pray that it's edifying. Until next time, shalom. Wa about the ball.